All right, thank you everyone for joining us for our Zoom with Theo Johnson. As always, please raise your hand and I will mute you. We'll start with Audrey Snyder.
Hey Theo, thanks for doing this with us today. Hope you're well.
Thank you.
Um, I wanted to ask you what Sunday was like in the building. Coach Franklin told us that, he told the team that he was parting ways with Mike. What was it like kind of in the meeting room, and what was it like around the facility?
I think the big thing, obviously, Coach Yurchis wasn't there, but other than that, it was kind of business as usual. We showed up to the meetings. We had Coach Howell and Coach Sider run the meetings on the offensive side. Obviously, tough loss. Had a lot of stuff to clean up, but I don't say it was anything out of the ordinary.
Tyler Donahue.
Good morning. Thank you for your time. If I could ask about Drew Aller and how you've seen him handle this moment. Obviously, the change at quarterbacks coach and offensive coordinator, his only college position coach to this point, is potentially dramatic for him. How have you seen him responded on the practice field so far this week, and what do you anticipate from Drew here moving forward this season?
Obviously, we just had practice on Sunday, haven't seen a ton of how he's handled it from a practice standpoint. We'll see this week, but I don't see anything changing. I think that Drew has always handled adversity and challenges very well since from when he was a freshman. So I'm confident that he's gonna take this change in stride, and whoever we have come in to coach him next is going to have a really great quarterback at their disposal.
Rich Garcella.
Morning, Theo. Thanks for the time.
Morning.
What have you been, or what are your first impressions of J1 and Ty now that they're going to be calling plays? What have you seen from them? And what do you hope for going forward?
I just so far, obviously, two coaches that everybody has a lot of respect for in our program and on our offense. Ty has called plays before in the past. I think everybody has a lot of confidence in what they're going to do. And, I think the big thing is just kind of continuing to do things that we did well and kind of putting a lot of our focus on that and not getting too much out of what we've been doing, obviously, just because the season's coming to a close here. So I think that, everyone's got confidence in the two guys that we got calling plays versus this week.
Greg Pickle.
Hey, good morning, Theo. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. What have you learned? You're probably one of the guys on the team that's closest with Coach Howell. So what have you learned about him from I guess you would say, demeanor and preparation standpoint that'll have him ready for this new responsibility?
Yeah. I've said in the past, I think that Coach Howell's one of the hardest working coaches that we have. He's always kind of going the extra mile for tight ends and making sure that we're prepared in every way and doing extra stuff, whether that's notes or extra meetings and stuff like that, and always making sure that we're prepared. So I think that he does a really great job of preparing and making sure that he hasn't really left anything uncovered. And I think that that's a trait that's going to really carry over well for him when it comes to calling plays and making sure that our offense is ready to go this weekend.
Daniel Gallen.
Theo, thank you for your time this morning. As you look towards these last two games, for this team and given everything that's happened with a second loss, a change on offense, what's kind of the key to keeping things on track as a team captain and making sure that you guys still accomplish what you can in these final 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think the big thing is, regardless of what our record looks like or how things might have changed, like our standard as a team hasn't changed. We take pride a lot of, being a Penn State football team and what that means and what that brings to the table. And just because we've lost 2 games doesn't mean that standard is going to change or it needs to change. So I think that's kind of the big thing is still playing to our standard, regardless of maybe our expectations or what we wanted to happen didn't happen, and just making sure that regardless of how we're feeling, we're still living up to that standard every day.
Seth Engel.
Theo, another guy who we could, maybe seek an increased role here on the coaching staff, is Danny Bryan, who I'm sure you've kind of been familiar with in practices. What can you tell us about him as a coach, and maybe some things that we don't know about him?
Yeah, I think that Danny works really hard. He's one of those people that kind of does a lot of stuff behind the scenes that he doesn't get a ton of recognition for. Really hard worker. He's super smart. Does a lot of stuff for the quarterback position. I see similar things with him and Howell with just their work ethic. Obviously, we have a lot of coaches that work really hard. So I think he does a really great job of kind of teaching things and explaining things a different way and giving a different perspective that some other people don't have. So I think that if he gets an increased role, I think that it's going to be a good opportunity for everybody, just because he kind of brings a different perspective to the quarterback position and to offense in general.
Time for three more. Audrey Snyder.
He was, excuse me, as one of the leaders on this team, where do you feel like the offense collectively is at, kind of with their headspace, given all that's transpired since Sunday?
Yeah, I think that so far I've been pretty pleased with where everyone's at. I think that at practice today it'll really show where we are, but I think that we've overcame a lot of adversity this year, and this offense have overcame a lot of adversity. So I'm confident that moving forward that we're not going to waver, we're not going to flinch, and we're just going to keep fighting forward.
Tyler Donahue.
Yeah. Theo, kind of going on a different path here. James hinted that we may see some more freshmen involved down the stretch as the season continues, and Andrew Rapley is a guy that we think may be one of those. What has he done on the practice field this fall to progress himself to the point where maybe he's in a better position to do things in a game than he was, say, in September 1st?
Yeah, I think that he's just a guy that's continuing to improve, really works hard. He's somebody that's always trying to learn, probably ask more questions than anybody in the meeting room, just because he wants to make sure that he knows everything and he's super clear on everything. So I think that, I've seen him grow more, mature more. I think that's been a big piece for him. But obviously, learning a college offense and doing what the tight ends are asked to do is a lot. So sometimes it takes people a little bit longer for it to click. But I think that for him, the physicality piece, the mentality piece, it's right where it needs to be. So I think that his role may improve moving forward. We'll see how that goes. But whenever that role does increase, I feel like he's going to be ready for it.
Rich Garcelle.
Theo, last season, you guys, after losing to Ohio State, finished strongly. What lessons can be learned from that group? What did you take from last year that you can apply for these next two games and the bowl game, possibly?
Yeah, I think the big thing, through those last couple of games is there's a lot of older guys we had on the team, guys that have, 6-year guys who have been through the program a lot. And I can speak at least for myself, and I feel like this is how it was throughout the team, is like we wanted to keep playing for those guys, and make sure that we're, setting those guys out the right way. Obviously a guy like Sean Clifford, who's given everything to his university, wanted to make sure that we did right by him. So I think that, that's something I learned from that experience, and we did exactly that. We finished the season out great. We went to a good bowl game and won. So I think that, that's kind of how I think about things, is we have a lot of guys that have sacrificed a lot and given a lot to this program, to this university, and we owe it to them to send them out the right way.